can apply it to your infant's stomach if they are having any type of tummy troubles, you know, if they're constipated or very bloated, and that basically... Hey guys, welcome back to Cultivating Harmony. Today we're going to be talking about how moms can use Chinese medicine with their kids. So in Chinese medicine, children are considered to have weak or what's considered underdeveloped constitutions, which basically just means that they're more sensitive to any kind of treatment. Now, this seems pretty intuitive because we also know that even in Western medicine, right, that children are smaller, so they get smaller doses of things. Therefore, it's better to treat with gentle methods. Sometimes gentle methods get a bad reputation because, you know, people will say that they don't work because they are gentle. But it really depends on who is receiving them. Gentle methods are really best used on the young or the elderly, as well as people who are weak or generally ill, as well as people who overall are better maintained or balanced. So today I'm going to give you guys my top 5 with a little bonus of my favorite methods to use on kids. Number 1, and in my opinion is the easiest, is using food as medicine, right? I think this is talked a lot in natural circles. Just trying to incorporate those foods every day or when needed to be able to treat your kids of, you know, any kind of ailments or rashes and things like that. An example of this would be, you know, giving kids mung beans as one of their meals, incorporating mung beans as one of the meals for treating things like a rash or even kind of a restlessness. So my second favorite method is using tea. Now, teas are generally a pretty easy treatment to administer as well. They don't have to be very concentrated and they don't have to drink very much of it. Even if you're just giving a child a teaspoon for infant, or 1 or 2 ounces in an older child, things like chamomile tea before bedtime really is able to, you know, just help them calm down and unwind for the end of the evening. Chamomile tea is also really great for getting rid of wind. My third favorite is using a poultice. Now, this isn't something that is talked about very much today, but this is really an ancient remedy. It's basically food or herbs that are mashed up and then applied topically. They're sometimes wrapped in cheesecloth to help, you know, mitigate some of the mess they can make. Sometimes they're also added to any type of oil or something that's going to help bind them and keep them together as you apply it. There's so many different things that you can use for a poultice, especially with kids. One of the remaining poultices that we have today left in the mainstream would actually be something like Vicks Vapor Rub, right? So Vicks Vapor Rub is basically, you know, a menthol combination that is applied in petroleum jelly. Now, I don't suggest you use Vicks as a first go-to just because the petroleum jelly is a byproduct of gasoline. But you can always use, you know, any type of coconut oil or olive oil as a carrier to herbs or essential oils. Now, some of the poultices that I like to use, juice, watermelon and cucumber, and then you're left with kind of, you know, the pulp. And what I'll actually do if my kids have any type of rash or kind of like topical redness or irritation, I will take the pulp that's left over from the cucumber and watermelon, and it's very cooling. So you can go ahead and just kind of pat that poultice on top of their skin over the rash and, you know, let it sit for 5-10 minutes, and you should see a reduction in redness and irritation and things like that. I know another common poultice that has been used in the last century or so is blending up onions and then applying it to the bottom of the feet for things like congestion and coughs, and then putting the socks over and letting that sit overnight. Another example of this is something that I've actually used, and there is like a spice or herb in Indian cuisine that's actually called asafoetida. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. But it's basically kind of has like a garlic smell and taste to it. You can apply it to your infant's stomach if they are having any type of tummy troubles, you know, if they're constipated or very bloated, and that basically is able to penetrate the skin and just help the digestive system kind of move along. So those are just a few of the poultices that our family uses. There's so many different ones though, and it can be really effective but also gentle on kids where you don't have to worry too much. They don't have to be left on for a long time, and they don't have a lot of side effects. The fourth method that I like to use that is very gentle for kids is using gemstones and other types of crystals. Now, before you say, okay, this lady is like super woo-woo, I just want to put out there that Chinese medicine has always historically used stones as well as minerals for treatment, whether it's internally or externally using them. Chinese jade has many special properties, and some of the most excellent pieces of jade can actually go for prices higher than gold, and has traditionally been saved for emperors, not only for reasons of just prestige or wealth, but also for spiritual reasons. I really encourage you to try looking into some of the different properties of different gemstones and crystals just to keep on hand, or to even have your child wear. So I know a very common one these days is having a child wear an amber necklace during infancy and kind of those toddler years to aid in some of the pain that the teeth coming in can bring on. There are so many gemstones and different crystals that are relatively cheap, and this can be a really, a great tool to have in your toolkit. All right, so my fifth method for treating kids with Chinese medicine isn't necessarily just a Chinese medicine method, but using tinctures. This could be another really great way to try to get herbs or teas in that may be easier than trying to get your child to drink or eat. And typically you only need a few drops. Now I feel like this is another thing that's considered very woo-woo, but it's interesting the history on alcohol, because typically alcohol is used as the base to extract these properties from the herbs or spices and things like that. But I believe it's in Arabic that alcohol actually translates to al ghul. Now we're thinking of ghul as in like a ghost or a spirit, right? That's why we have alcoholic spirits. So the tinctures are actually able to work by the alcohol being able to extract these properties from the herbs or spices or whatever you're using into the alcohol, and that's how it's actually able to transmit the healing benefits to us. So I have a final bonus remedy that isn't necessarily Chinese medicine, but is a gentle method that I like to use with kids, and that is homeopathics. What's interesting about homeopathics is that they dilute the herb or the combination, so it is purposely more diluted and weaker. Makes it a really great option to use on kids because you don't have to worry so much about any kind of really negative strong reaction. And the other great thing about homeopathics is that there's such a range of different things that they can treat. There's so many different ones out there. I know I had mentioned earlier as asafoetida of being a spice that you can actually apply topically to infants to help with stomach troubles. But it's also available as a homeopathic, so that's another great option just to have on hand as well in case you're out and about and your baby's having tummy problems and you can't get all the garlic poultice mess all over. It's a little stinky. So being able just to pop in a couple of the homeopathic remedies is really, an easy way on the go to use. All right, guys, I just want to give a reminder to, always check with your healthcare professional to make sure that these remedies are safe for you and your family to use. I hope you guys found these helpful and maybe some new ones that you haven't tried out before, and we'll go ahead and see you next time. Thanks.